Everybody's saying that the Epstein file redactions are very clearly protecting the perpetrator, but I need you guys to understand how blatant it is. I'm going to show you an example, and I want you to keep in mind how many times you can tell that the reference is to multiple people, because the girl will have said then they did this, and they did, but the only part that's not redacted is Epstein's name. This particular victim is sending an email to someone saying, sorry, this took so long. Please let me know if you need anything else. And there's a preliminary questionnaire to see if she's actually a victim of Epstein's. I was born into sex trafficking. I was trafficked beginning at my earliest memory. I do not remember a time that I was not trafficked for sex. According to birth certificate from blank, my biological parents, I do not recognize them as parents, blank and blank, began to sell me for sex in the town of blank. There were many men that were brought to their home to have sex with me. I was taken to many states in the US to sell me. I was forced by threat by blank, comma, and Jeffrey Epstein of being killed, bodily harm, and threats of harming other children if I did not have sex with them and any other people they sold me to. Sold. Remember that word, sold. The rape and sex trafficking with Jeffrey Epstein happened year blank. I was about blank years old at the time. Why would the names of any of these people or locations be redacted? The location alone is not going to identify the victim. The redaction is not long enough for it to be first and last name of the parents, so that wouldn't identify the victim. Anyway, at the time, I was taken to an underground location. I was blindfolded, so I would not know exactly where I was at. It was dark, and when we went through doors, we went downstairs. There was also an elevator in the location. I was kept in a stall. It looked like a horse stall that had short walls on the sides so you could see inside. It wasn't really to keep me and the other little girls inside. It was to make it where we could be viewed. Epstein would walk past each girl, including myself, with a lot of men following him, and they would judge us. He told me I was fat and ugly, so that's what he called me. Redacted. And he said I had to pretend it was him to see if I performed well. What do you think that says? Was she to do an act with another man? And maybe Epstein said I had to pretend it was him to see if I performed well? Why is that redacted? He said if I performed well, I could be his girlfriend. Then I would be allowed to be upstairs, he called it. He said the girls upstairs were pretty and they were his girlfriends. He then raped me and said I was evil because I liked it. I couldn't make my body stop feeling, so he said I had to go to the holding place to pray hard enough to be able to be upstairs with the other girls. There were a lot of pictures of girls naked all over the walls. Now we know it's true, if you had any doubt. Because unless you've been inside of his house, you don't know about the pictures of all the naked girls on the wall. Weird thing to guess at. I had to pray hard to be like them, he said. The girls that he said performed well enough went with the line of all the men and they left. Redacted. Why? In Virgin Islands, I was redacted. They stopped there. I was 17 years old. Redacted was blindfolded and taken to an underground location. It had steps that went down. I was raped by Jeffrey Epstein. There were other men that raped me. I was kept in a stall so that men could look at me. He said I was an animal and that he was perfect. If I had sex with him, that I wouldn't be such an animal. Redacted. Trump was there too? Would probably fit there. I don't know. A guess, just a guess. He said I wanted to be raped because I wanted to be more like him. I feel like that has to do with Trump. Because in another place she says that he said that he was perfect and that I wanted to be raped because I wanted to be more like him. Who uses that kind of hyperbole? I'm perfect, I'm the best. And if you let me rape you, then you'll be the best too. Everybody wants to be raped by me. That kind of thing. Anyway, I don't know. That's just my opinion. State your date of birth, blah, blah, blah. Obviously those are going to be redacted. When you were trafficked, did you or any trafficker receive benefit compensation for your services? Why is that redacted? If you refused to have sex with men, did your traffickers physically or psychologically harm you? That's a big old paragraph. Why is that redacted? Have you seen a counselor or social worker? Where and when? Redacted. How long ago were you trafficked? Redacted. At what point were you rescued? At what age? Redacted. Were the police notified By whom? When? Is there a police report? That sure seems to me like a fucking yes, because no would have just been fucking no. Redacted though. Why? Have your traffickers been arrested and prosecuted? Looks like a no, but it's redacted. Are there others? Why is that redacted? Are there others known to you still being trafficked by him or others? Redacted. Name of traffickers and descriptions. Jeffrey Epstein is in his 60s. And then their names, someone's names, I don't know what they look like now. Specific to Mr. Epstein, when, how, and where did you meet him? Did he have other men or women with him, and were you forced to have sex with him and the others? I was brought to him by my traffickers blank. He then trafficked me for sex with the men he had with him. What type of sexual intercourse did Mr. Epstein have with you? How often? Was he physically violent? Did he attempt to photograph or video the sexual activity? I was raped by Jeffrey Epstein multiple times. He was threatening to kill and harm other children if I didn't do what he said. He had video cameras, he said, and if I didn't do what he said, they would see that I caused the other children to get hurt. Then I would be put in jail. That's not redacted. But why was this redacted? Did Mr. Epstein have any physical features? Not that I remember. Did Mr. Epstein call you any certain names or refer to you by name like sweetie, honey, baby, fat and ugly? He called some of the children that he chose to go places with him his girlfriend. All right, enough about him. Have you been arrested in the U.S., you fucking criminal? No. Are you employed? You fucking deadbeat victim? There's an answer. That's redacted for some reason. All right, you fucking liar. Are you willing to take a polygraph? Yes. And then immediately after this, there's this call log with known associate, all redacted. Known associates, all redacted. And then remember when I told you to keep in mind that she used the language sold, I was sold. And then also remember they redacted when she started getting trafficked, the age, but they did not redact when she was 17 years old. Here's the report from the investigator from Hope for Justice Nashville, summarizing what she said. On blank, investigators received a phone call from blank, who was referred by blank to Hope for Justice. Blank stated she had been sexually trafficked by blank when she was approximately 5 years old. Not redacted this time. And again when she was 17. Blank wanted to know if her allegation could be investigated. Blank was if you're lying, you don't contact someone and say, hey, can you look into this and make sure I'm telling the truth? It's more like, this happened. Here are the details I remember. If you look under his fucking house, you might find a stable. Anyway, that's important for a reason. Blah, blah, blah. She provided blah, blah, blah. Blank stated that she has blank, 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 recalled being forced to live under the house in a crawl space, and at times blank were made to live there as well. She stated at around the age of 5 to 6 years old, blank, she was taken to Florida where blank trafficked her to blank, perpetrator and perpetrator, redacted. She recalled there was a number of young kids there and would recognize the area if seen again. Blank, 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 blank. Further stated she was 17 years old, blank, 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 to the U.S. Virgin Islands where she was, quote, sold again. We don't really believe her. What does she mean by sold? She's inviting us to verify the information she's provided us. But was she sold? By whomever is in this very long redaction? That's a very long redaction. It doesn't just say Jeffrey Epstein. It doesn't say her parents and Jeffrey Epstein. And by the way, when they refer to her parents by just parents, it's not fucking redacted. Notice right there, parents. So perpetrators, redacted. During this encounter with blank, blank, recalled being taken downstairs to a room that looked like a horse stall. And by the way, that looks too short for Epstein. And why would Epstein be redacted? Epstein's name wouldn't be redacted. It's somebody else. It's also too short for Maxwell. Maybe it's not, I don't know. Anyway, recalled being taken downstairs to a room that looked like a horse stall that had short walls where she and the other little girls could be viewed and forced to have sex with blank and other men. Why would they be redacting Epstein's name? She recalled one man in his 30s with brown hair and a wheelchair bound who gave instructions to the other men as to what they should do to the girl. Blank, 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 and berated by blank perpetrators. Perpetrator, perpetrator, and berated by perpetrator. Calling her an animal and his having sex with him would make her status better because he was perfect. Who talks like that? You know who talks like that. This administration is blatantly and explicitly running cover for pedophiles.